Welcome back to Histories and Mysteries with me, Sally Toole. So thankful for everyone tuning back in. And as we were looking at the calendar for 2023, we realized it starts with a Friday the 13th. This Friday is Friday the 13th, the first one of the new year of 2023. And we decided that, listen, we've got to take note of the fact that Friday the 13th holds some significance with us. Now, some of you may know I have been doing ghost tours for several years, decades actually. I did one in Norcross, Georgia, north of Atlanta. I did one in St. Augustine, Florida, the third most haunted city in the United States of America. And I started one and wrote the script and produced one for a few years in Sonoy, Georgia, the land of the Walking Dead. So I have done 3 ghost tours in my lifetime, and over those 3 tours, I've actually had 3 incidences that happened on Friday the 13th. And that's what we're going to talk about on this latest vlog. Most of this video will be still shots because the evidence that we gathered is on photographs. So that's how we'll share that. And it's embarrassing to tell you, but because of all of these, I do suffer from FRIGGATRISKAIDECAPHOBIA. Do you have it as well? It is the fear of Friday the 13th. It finds me now staying at home with the cat and a nice bottle of Merlot. That's how I celebrate Friday the 13th these days. But let me tell you about the 3 major events all on Friday the 13th. One happened exactly 13 and a half years ago. Another one happened smack dab in the middle of that time. And the most recent one was just last year. And one of my tour guests realized that this last incident on Friday the 13th, it happened exactly 13 years to the day of the very first FRIGGATRISKAIDECAPHOBIA incident that I ever had. Now, the first one happened many, many years ago. I was in Norcross, Georgia, and we were doing a paranormal investigation, and we were looking for the spirit of a little boy named Billy. And the psychics had told us that Billy lived under this parsonage in Norcross. I'm going to share a picture with you of that with you in just a minute. And we were looking for Billy. We were gathered on the porch together, cameras going, video recorders going, and we called out to Billy, "Billy, if you're here, if you hear us, let us know. Billy, if you're with us tonight, send us a sign." And at that very moment, 2 gentlemen in the crowd had their cell phones go off. Beep, 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 beep. Well, they each got 5 text messages. 5 was the age that Billy was when he was killed while riding his bike in front of that very porch where we stood that Friday the 13th so many decades ago. Those 2 gentlemen got 5 text messages, unknown name, unknown number. The interesting part about the fact that we were looking for Billy was that both of these fellas, their names were William. Yes, very coincidental. Still gives me goosebumps to think about. So that's the first incident regarding Friday the 13th. It happened in Norcross, Georgia. Now, the next incident would have happened in St. Augustine, Florida. I was very reluctant to take a ghost tour, and I'm going to share with you some of the pictures of me touring over the years as we go through the video. I was reluctant that night to go out, but the boss said, come on, go out, you're going to be fine. Reluctantly, I went out with a group, and as we got to the Plaza de la Constitucion in downtown St. Augustine, Florida, I was recalling the story of an execution that didn't happen. The execution was of Andrew Ransom. Andrew Ransom had a rope around his neck, and he was about to be hung until dead. Well, he showed up with, pulled from his pocket, a rosary. Now, in those days, St. Augustine, Florida, everyone was Catholic, and you did not put a Catholic to death. So the crowd went crazy, and they argued with the governor, who was up in his house looking over the balcony onto this execution. And they called out, you can't put him to death, you can't put him to death. But the governor said to continue with the execution. At that point, the priests in the crowd began to pray for young Andrew Ransom. They joined him in his prayer over his rosary. And as the executioner twisted the rope enough where it should have killed him, the rope broke. It was a miracle, an act of God. People were praising God for this miracle on the Plaza de la Constitucion. But the governor said to get another rope. Well, at that moment, the priest stole away with Andrew Ransom, and they kept him hidden in their church for many, many years. Until later, the governor himself, that very same governor, came to Andrew and said, please, will you help me? I know you're a fine stonemason, and I need help building the new fort, or what is known as the Castillo de San Marco. A very beautiful, I'll share a picture of that as well with you. Now, they let him go, and he did help build the fort. And then after the fort was built, Andrew Ransom married that governor's daughter. It's said, a little twist of fate again, right? It's said that the daughter is the one who gave Andrew the rosary and taught him the Catholic prayer that saved his life. Now, in St. Augustine, that one particular night of that tour, we had encountered a full moon. It was Friday the 13th. Bats were flying out from the Leitner Museum and also the old Ponce de Leon Hotel, which is now Flagler College. We had a black cat cross our paths carrying a black rat. It was quite a night, to say the least. And the picture that you're going to see in just a moment is the image of what looks like a young girl leaning over the balcony of the governor's house the very night we were talking about the near death, the almost execution of Andrew Ransom. So that's Friday the 13th, number 2. Now, the third Friday the 13th is quite interesting, and this took place in Sonoy, Georgia. We had gathered a group for a paranormal hunt and investigation, and as we were at a beautiful place called the Veranda Inn, it's a bed and breakfast in downtown Sonoy, Georgia. Lovely place, known to be haunted by a little boy named Marion Holberg. It is known that Marion drank water from a well in the backyard, and he didn't realize that a chicken had fallen into the well and tainted the water. He became very sick, and he died from the water he had drank from that well. Well, we hadn't told the tour guests about that story yet. We hadn't made it to the backyard where the well was to talk about young Marion, and I'm going to share pictures of him with you as well. We hadn't even told the story of Marion when folks in the crowd who had ghost guide apps open on their phone, they received the message, the words chicken and drop and August. Well, the chicken dropped in the well, died, tainted the water, and killed a little boy named Marion, and he died in the month of August in the year 1900. So those are the three big incidents of Friday the 13th. I hope you enjoy this video. It's got a lot of still shots, but we're going to get out and we're going to get in the backyard of the Veranda Inn as well and show you that well. Happy 2023, guys. Have a safe and eventful Friday the 13th, and perhaps you can report to me that now you too suffer from friggatriskaidekaphobia.